So I work for Greater Manchester Police. And maybe as the police we also need to consider that some people don't want to have to come to us, so our engagement with the community is really important, and we need to be engaging with the community so that they've got that opportunity to disclose things to us, not necessarily having to come to the police station for help. And I think that's a big thing as well. The police and the culture of the police in England and the UK may be very different to the policing that they've experienced had they lived in another country previously. So a hate crime is any offence that is a criminal offence that's perceived by the victim or any other person to have been motivated by one of the protected characteristics such as religion, as disability, sexual orientation, race. It matters so that we can look to try and reduce the number of incidents that happen. Some criminal offences need to be investigated, as would any criminal offence, and if offenders need to be brought to justice, then that's the case for any crime, hate related or not. We need to understand what's going on in the communities so that we can better police those communities, so we can understand what enforcement action might need to be taken or what education we might need to provide to people who are committing these offences and also to victims. So it will be recorded. At the point of recording, a decision will be made as to whether there are any substantive offences, so any criminal offences that need to be recorded, and that will define whether it's a hate incident or a hate crime. It will then go to the neighbourhood policing team for them to look into, so the neighbourhood police officers, they will investigate either the incident or the crime itself. And it's also looked at on a district-wide basis, so we look at the picture on a daily basis of what crimes have been reported, what hate crimes have been reported in the last 24 hours, what hate incidents in the last 24 hours. So that's looked at on a senior management level, just so that we understand what's happening, we can predict any, or we can see any trends that are taking place, or anything that might need an escalation. And it's looked at by multi-agency teams as well on a monthly basis, so that we can see anything that's happening that needs to be addressed by a wider agency. Yeah. Please do report it to us. Unfortunately, there's little we can do if we don't understand exactly what's happening. And the reports that we get will drive the actions that we take and put our resources into certain areas. Which we don't get that. If we don't get that picture, that understanding, it's very hard to target that directly as it should be. I think a lot of the time it's a lack of education, a lack of understanding. I think some people are frustrated, and in some instances, I think there's two levels. I think there are some people who have a much deeper hatred for people for whatever reasons they may have. There are also some people who will look for differences between themselves and other people, and they express those when they're struggling to express themselves. And possibly sometimes not thinking about the impact that their words are having on other people. It really is just an encouragement for people to report and to tell us. You may not think that it's the most important thing, and you may sit there and think that the police aren't going to do anything about it, but we can only do things when we are aware of what's happening. We can only focus our attention when we know.
Main strands of work that I do is around hate crime and hate crime awareness in particular. And as you've already said, I think the most important thing is to explain what hate crime is and what hate incidents are, and then how to report it. So a lot of my work is going to places, schools, mosques, colleges, anywhere that'll have me, and I'll talk about what it is. And the awareness is out there. I think sometimes it's just a lack of trust in organisations. And I'm trying very hard to break those barriers down, that people do feel comfortable enough to at least tell somebody. It's one thing to tell somebody, one thing to report it. If you don't feel comfortable to report it, I think you should report it, at least tell somebody. Let somebody know that you're suffering and struggling because of what you have been put through. If we get that first bit right, telling somebody, that can lead to reporting it via the cops or a third party or a trusted person, and it can make communities safer. And I know it sounds awfully grand to say it, but that's what my role is to try and encourage awareness and try and make the communities a bit safer. There's loads of reasons for not reporting. I completely understand that, lack of trust or poor experiences or poor outcomes, but people cannot give up. They've got to try and make our communities safer. And if I can just drop that little seed of awareness in these different groups about who to contact, then I'm happy. And if you can just sow that little bit of a seed of helpfulness, kindness, understanding, it makes a massive difference. And I just want to make sure people are okay and are supported ultimately. And if we do that, then things should get better. But yeah, Bottom line is, if you're suffering from anything like this, please tell somebody. And if you can, and you feel supported and you want to do it, please do tell the police, because it will make your community safer. So tell somebody and report it.